Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's Bright Ideas session on LinkedIn. I'm delighted to be joined by an expert panel today. And just wanted to say, first off, big thank you from me to all the panelists, obviously Sam, Fran, and Ashley, for taking time to come and speak to us today. In fact, I'll come around to you all just to start off, just to introduce yourselves and your business. Ashley, can I come to you first, please?
What happened to ladies first? Come on.
I do apologise.
That's all right. I'm Ashley Leeds. I'm the 15-minute guy, and I want people to love LinkedIn. So I try and get you to do it in just 15 minutes a day. So thanks so much for having me. But I'm in awe of Samantha and Francesca. What a great room. Lovely to see you guys.
Thank you.
It is a great room. Excellent panelists, because you guys are in the top 20 of the most followed UK accounting professionals on LinkedIn, I believe. I keep track of Hamlin's list that he publishes, and you guys are also doing really well. So thanks for joining us. Fran, perhaps we'll come to you.
Did you say Fran?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Hi, so I'm Francesca, the co-founder of Future Cloud Accounting. We've just had our 4-year anniversary, and I only started using LinkedIn, well, 4 years ago, to be fair, and it has been a bit of a crazy ride. I've literally, anything you name it, I've done it on LinkedIn.
Excellent, and we look forward to hearing all about it. Sam, we'll come to you, please.
Thank you. Yes, so my name's Sam Mitchum. Similar story to Francesca, really. I've been running a practice since 2019, SJCM Accountancy, and spend a lot of time playing on LinkedIn.
Playing?
Great, excellent, thank you very much. Hard work is what it is.
It is hard
work.
work.
Say, so we encourage questions from the audience. On the control panel on your screen, you should all have a question box. Please feel free to submit questions in the question box. Any comments or questions, we can pick them up, and also the guys will be happy to take those as we go through the session. But just to kind of kick us off, really, Francesca, perhaps I'll come to you then, just to kind of, I suppose, understand a little bit more about the story, about the practice and your use of LinkedIn. How did you get started with LinkedIn? And I suppose, why did you identify as that's a social media platform for us?
I think I had an account probably years and years ago, to be fair, where I was working at my last corporate job, and I'd go on there as a lurker. You always start off as a lurker. Anyone would agree with that, to be fair. You look at what people are up to, and then I thought, oh, what if I shared the business journey, and there wasn't anyone really doing that from the car or doing video content, and I just felt like I really wanted to try something different. So that's what I started in 2019, and the very first video I didn't get loads of likes, because you don't when you first start as such, but I got loads of comments saying congratulations when I said I'm going self-employed and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to grow the business, and I'm going to stick to my word. And I shared the journey, and that's what actually grew the followers. And I think it's grown the business for clients and building a team, because people follow you on there, they know what your values are, what you're about, and then they're more likely to work with you. So that was my idea, and I didn't know it was going to work, and that is the genuine truth. My first goal when I started Future Cloud was just to get 30 clients, and now we've got 2 offices and a team. So it's been amazing, but it's an add-on to everything else I do. So it's not just social media, but it has definitely been a nice fun bonus, because you can make it fun, and you should in business as well, to be fair.
And I look forward to diving into a bit more about the video content and the car updates as they are. Sam, do you want to just give a bit of background to your journey and how you got started with LinkedIn?
Yeah, of course. So when I first set my practice up, LinkedIn wasn't the platform I focused on. I very much focused more on Facebook and Instagram, hitting like real local businesses. It was in 2021 that I hit LinkedIn a bit harder, and I just kind of thought, there's a bit of a gap here. Is there anyone in my area doing anything accountancy wise on LinkedIn? Well, no, there wasn't. And then I looked a bit wider and thought, well, there's nobody in that area or that area either. So I thought the thing for me with LinkedIn was going to be about consistency, and I thought I need to get myself kind of out there doing something where people start recognizing that it's not just one post every now and then, but it was something really consistent that, you know, would bring me to like the forefront of their minds if they were thinking about an accountant. So that's where my 2021 series was kind of created from, where I did a set subject matter Monday to Friday, and I committed myself to doing it for 52 weeks for the whole year. Tax Tip Tuesday being the main one that actually brought me work in. So all that was a video that I pushed out every Tuesday that had a tax tip within it, and I just committed myself to that. And from that came the following, to be honest, and it just grew and grew throughout 2021. Since then, I've kept it a bit more kind of real in terms of the story and the journey, and just sharing snippets, not only with the aim of getting clients, but also obviously building my name in the industry, because I enjoy doing things like this. So it took kind of a bit of a pivot. But in terms of how I got clients from LinkedIn, it was all about the consistency of that series that I did in 2021.
Excellent. And Ashley, I suppose the stories of Francesca and Sam that are there today, I assume they're quite similar to the other accountants that you've been working with. Do you want to just tell us a bit about the way you've been supporting accountants with LinkedIn?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in this space for 16 years now, when I used to sell software. So I've known accountants and bookkeepers for a very long time, and I've been in sales for 30 years. So to have something like LinkedIn for a sales guy is incredible. And I just wish that when I first started out in sales, there was such a thing as LinkedIn. So Samantha and Francesca, you're absolutely knocking it out of the park. I actually use a post of Samantha's in my training, so people can actually see what she does. And Tax Tip Tuesdays actually inspired me to do my Monday video. So because you were just so consistent, I thought, right, I'm going to do that as well. So and I'm still doing it. I'm doing it every single Monday. But once you've got something like that, it's just so easy to create the content, because you know every Tuesday you've got to talk about tax. And the first week you did it, you probably thought, oh, I don't know what to talk about. By the next week, you probably, I've got 3 ideas. And the next week you've got 5 ideas. So you've got enough now for the rest of the year. And that's all it is. And it is consistency. And that's what you've got to be doing. And I can't echo that enough. So many people think, oh, I've got to do this and I've got to do that. You don't. You just need to be consistent. And posting once a week, just once a week, all right, is more than 99% of people on LinkedIn.
That's crazy, isn't it? When you say it like that, it's not a lot, is it? I think I started once, twice a week, and then it gets addictive.
Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah, we are allowed to say that. I think it has to be a bit of, you need to get a little bit obsessed if you want to build a good following now. If you're just in it for this and that now and again, fine, but I really wanted to build something, so I was really obsessed.
I suppose, Francesca, it'd be interesting to know, how much time do you dedicate to it? So obviously, Sam, I'll come to you on the same thing as well, to be honest with you, because I know a lot of accountants out there, they're going to think, okay, well, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to try to aim for consistency, but how much actual is going to take me out of the day, and how much out of the week?
I think at the beginning, when I was only doing once, twice, 3 times a week, it's not too much. You could do it in an hour a day, I suppose. I think lockdown is where my following really grew, and I did a lot of lives and a lot of build up for the lives that I was doing. I had a lot of content, a lot of time on my hands. It probably was 3 hours a day, to be honest. Engaging, liking, sharing, commenting, sharing what I'm up to. That's where I grew the big following. So nowadays, I don't have to spend as much time. I don't, because I've not got just LinkedIn anymore. I've got a team. I've got YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I do a local social networking, go on podcasts, do these webinars. So I haven't got as much time. So initially, I would say spend as much time as you can for a good year. Give yourself that structure in your diary, and then you can have you can slow it down. If I want to build it back up again, I will go back on loads. I don't want to at the minute, but I might do in the future.
And Sam, when you was doing that 52-week program, how much time was you dedicating to it?
Yeah, so when I was doing the 5 posts a week and I had committed to 52 weeks, I would say on average half a day a week, and I would plan the content for the next week. Tax Tip Tuesday obviously being the one that took the time, because not only did I have to write the kind of script, if you like, of what I was talking about, but I then had to check it from a legislation point of view, obviously putting myself out there as an accountant with tax information. You know, you've got to check it, you've got to double check it. I did have another accountant that would check some of them for me, some of the more technical ones. So obviously that becomes a bit more time that's being put into that post. Again, I think then the filming, I think if I'd have had more time on my hands, I would have pushed that out to be around a day a week, I think, to get those posts in place. Because I didn't have as much time as I would have liked. Probably 50% of the time, I wasn't actually happy, 100% happy with the way I'd filmed it, whether it was that I stuttered or that, oh, I've said the wrong word there and had to backtrack a little bit. But I think you kind of, once your confidence grows in that, actually nobody's going to come in the comments and say, oh, you stuttered on that video, you know, like that's not what it's about. It was about being real, and it was about actually, this is who I am and this is what I'm doing. I'm going to give you a tax tip. I'm not perfect, but the legislation is right, and that's all I had to concentrate on. I think very similar to Francesca in that now LinkedIn becomes very natural. So in terms of the time spent now, I would say every post I do in a week probably only has 2 hours in total to a week's worth of posts. But that's probably heavily because what I'm posting at the moment isn't really technical stuff. So I'm not having to sit back and actually check what I'm posting. It's what's going on in my practice, what am I up to today and what's happened? Well, I'm just telling that story. And I think unless it is something that needs kind of checking from a technical point of view, I think it can be easy to criticize yourself too much and try and make every post perfect. Whereas we're humans, we know that humans buy off humans. And actually, if you've got a bit of a spelling error in one, you know, it's not the end of the world.
Now, actually, we should say that these are, you know, the premium examples of LinkedIn in the accounting industry. And the time that they're talking about dedicating to LinkedIn, not everybody dedicates that time. In fact, you talk about how 15 minutes could be all you need. I was going to say, do you want to?
And this is why I pick on the 15 minutes a day, because I'm an accountant right now, and I'm listening to Samantha and Francesca, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I can't spend that much time. I don't want to do videos, and that's absolutely fine. But if you do 15 minutes a day, all right, you can get some mileage out of it. But the thing is, if you add those 15 minutes up, by the end of the year, that's 65 hours. Who doesn't want 65 hours of free marketing? Yeah. Now, the thing that Samantha's done is she just started and just went for it. And if we look back at her first videos, you won't mind me saying this, Samantha, but they're rubbish, right? And the thing is, now you're absolutely perfect because you've practiced. And yeah. What's happened is you've now got 52 videos out there with lots of tax tips, right? Yeah. And you are a master at doing video because you've been doing all these videos. And I think what puts people off is the very first video. I don't want to be rubbish. But you're not rubbish because the previous video you didn't do. So it's better than the last one. And that's the thing. As long as you improve every single time you do a video, then you can just stand up. And here we are. All four of us stood in front of this camera doing a webinar right now. A lot of people would be dead nervous doing it, but because we've been putting out all of those videos, it really doesn't matter. So that's the thing, is don't worry about being perfect, worry about the progress.
I have to admit, I always say, you know, done is better than perfect. Let's just get it out and let's improve. As long as Ashley, as you say, is, you know, the next one is better, then that's fine to be on the journey. I want to pick up some questions that we've had. So they're coming in thick and fast, which is great to see. So we've had one about consistency, and the question reads: when you talk about consistency, do you mean regular posts or regular posts on a set theme, such as the tax tips Tuesday? Sam, since that was your tax tips, I'll come to you on that one. Does it have to be a theme, or is it just about being on every day?
I think it's just about being on there every day. Obviously, if you were trying to use LinkedIn to grow an accountancy practice, then you need to think about your ideal client type, and you need to make sure that your content is in some way relevant to that client type. That doesn't mean that if you're wanting to be working with the CIS industry that you need to go on and speak about CIS every single week. But what I mean by that is look at where those people hang out and which kind of posts they're kind of reacting to on the platform. But in answer to the question, no, I think it's just about being consistently showing up, let's just say. You know, you want any prospective client to think, I need an accountant, or I'm thinking of switching accountants, you want to be in the forefront of their mind. That doesn't mean that you have to be there talking about something that's, you know, direct to their business. It just means you have to be at the forefront of their mind as an accountant. They can then look into you, into your website, and into what you actually do within the accountancy industry and decide whether you're the right one for them.
Francesca, can I come to you on this one? It's about videos. So the question is, when you make videos, do you use a videographer who films you, or do you just use your own camera? Now, I thought that'd be it would be good to come to you, because you could talk a bit perhaps about the videos that you shoot in the car, etc.
Yes, so every video I've done from my mobile phone, from a Samsung S10 to a now Samsung S21. So I only update my phone every 2 years. I've never edited a video ever, because, and I do stutter and make mistakes, because people want to see that you're human and then you make a mistake. So I had to be brave. That's what it's only about, being brave and then putting it out there and sitting in my car. And when I first did it, I was literally very nervous, believe it or not, really nervous. I questioned it after. The amount of times I've wanted to delete a video and think, oh no, that's too real, that's too much, that's too personal. But at the end of the day, that's you, as you know, that's me, and I actually like sharing the journey. I enjoy it, or I tell myself I do anyway. So no, I've never used any other video editing tool or anything like that. The only video editing tool, if you want something really basic that you can use from your phone, and which I've been doing for my YouTube, is called CapCut. I don't know if anyone's heard of it. It's so basic, but it's so easy. And my business partner was shocked that I do it from my mobile, because a lot of people use this software on their laptops, don't they? This special editing. And I was like, I'm going to just do it from my mobile, and I've made it work. It doesn't have to be perfect, but there's loads of good videographers out there that'll help you if you want to do some sort of series at the beginning.
I think it just speaks all about the actual type of content that we're posting, and I think you've both spoken a lot about the journey and people kind of buying into that. When you do compare that to maybe some more of the technical posts that you post as well, how do you evaluate what content works, what content doesn't, and what you should be doing more of going forwards? Sam, perhaps I'll come to you on that one.
Yeah, so I think in terms of Tax Tip Tuesday, if I'm to focus on that, there was 52 weeks, so 52 videos. I do have the data of how many clients I've got from each video, and I'm not saying that I got several clients per video, because I absolutely did not. But just to give you an example, the capital gains tax video that I did has got me by far more client leads than any other video. So from that, then I could lead on to, right, there's a gap here. Nobody's talking about CGT. At the time, it was quite relevant because they'd just brought in 30-day returns, which is now 60-day returns. But like, my point being, it is important to track, because then if I did want exceptional growth within my business as at today, I know that that's an area I would be focused on putting more content out for. I'm actually not wanting massive growth at the minute, because I've already had that and I'm having to kind of rein it back a little bit. But when I repeated the Tax Tip Tuesday videos onto YouTube, so I actually uploaded them all onto YouTube afterwards, and the same videos got the same kind of increased engagement. So I think it is important to track, so that, you know, then if you wanted to take it further again, you could just pick out the really good ones that is, you know, what your ideal client wants to hear about.
And actually, I'll come to you on types of content. What are you seeing that really works for accountants, and what do you recommend that they post about?
Absolutely anything. And this is the thing, right? So we know that Samantha has got a daughter and she's got a camper van. Yeah, she's like us. She is just like us. We know that Francesca's doing this crazy thing, getting fit. You're mad, lady, you're mad.
I know.
But we recognize it all. We absolutely recognize it all. And I've spoken to Francesca about this a number of times before. Francesca doesn't worry if she hasn't got makeup on and it's not quite right. And that's the other thing. We just know that they're real people. So that is what works. Authenticity. Every single time. Honesty, integrity, and authenticity. And we can see through all the wonderful filming and the wonderful sound and the wonderful scenery. We can see through all of that. What we want is, we want real people. And that's what we're getting with Francesca and Samantha.
Actually, I'll stick with this. We review this one as a LinkedIn expert, if you will. It's a bit of a technical one on connections and followers and what the difference is. Was asked by Claire. She says she just tried to connect with you, Francesca, and she couldn't connect. She could only follow.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And so what happens is, right, if you turn creator mode on, it gives you better reach on your posts. But you have to do at least 3 posts every week. So if you can't commit to that, don't turn it on. It also helps if you have more than 1,000 followers. So don't go turning it on if you're not in those camps. If you do turn it on, you get to be able to do lives and newsletters and all the other benefits. But as soon as you turn it on, your connect button turns into a follow button. Okay. And so basically, we're so amazing. We don't want to connect with you. We just want to follow with you. That's what LinkedIn thinks. All right. Next to the connect button, there's a little more button. And if you hit the more button, it then turns the follow button into a connect button. So you can click on that and click connect. And if you are going to connect with any of us today, just turn around and say, I saw you, I'd love to connect with you, rather than just connecting. Send a little message first, because it just helps. If someone sends a connect message and go, oh, I'd love to connect with you. I saw you doing this. I loved your video about Tax Tip Tuesday. I love the fact that you're doing this exercising. Can we connect? Then people are more likely to connect. So that's the difference. And if you see somebody's got a connect button and you just want to follow them because you want to see their content, you hit the more button and then it flips it to the follow button. So there you go. That's the answer.
That's so interesting, right? I only turned on my creator mode, I think it was January this year. I didn't dare click it before. And I don't think I've noticed a difference in anything, to be honest.
Yeah, but you're already up there.
I feel like LinkedIn's changed though in the last year. Have you noticed, Sam?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I think it's because more people are showing their personalities. There's more people out there doing it now, which is not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. So I might need to up my game now and think of something really crazy.
Maybe you should get a chair and slide on it.
Bring back the chair slide. I did that for nearly a year and a half, I think, or a year.
It definitely has changed. I think once upon a time it was much more just about business and content, and whereas now we're sharing more of our personal side on LinkedIn, which I think is great to see, because I think as we've all kind of touched on, people buy from people, and people want to they can look at the website, they can understand what services you're going to be provided, but ultimately they go into social media not to find an accountant, it's almost to qualify their choice in an accountant. And I think they just want to get to know the people behind the brand a little bit. Yeah. Which brings me on to another one of the questions that we've had from the audience, and that's about comparing the use of corporate profiles to personal profiles, and which is better to use. Francesca, perhaps I'll come to you on that one. How do you find that your page compares to Future Cloud's page, for instance?
Future Cloud's page has probably got about 1,500, 2,000 followers, something like that. Yeah, I sometimes tag them in it. We sometimes post stuff on it. We don't post regularly on there, to be honest. I grew the business with my personal brand. That's like the buzzword, isn't it? Personal branding. But you definitely do need to do some corporate business stuff as well. Definitely, we need to do more of it, to be honest.
And Sam, do you only post for yourself, or do you use one for the business store?
I do have the business page, but very similar to Francesca in that it's not heavily used, and actually I probably need to use it more. I think from my point of view, I do totally agree that personal branding is so important, definitely from like the onset, and that's how you're going to get your initial following. Nobody's really interested in a brand name at the initial point. They want the person. But what I will say is, if you are then going to be growing a team and actually it's the business that you want to have its name on social media, you have to be careful that you don't put yourself in a position where every lead and every client that you get thinks that they're going to be speaking to you. Obviously for myself, for Francesca, when we first set up, that would have been the case, but now absolutely it's not. So I think it is quite important to make sure that the brand is there as well, whether that's just, what I tend to do, anything technical, I just tag the kind of business page at the bottom of the post. So at least then it is like dropping that name in. But I think personal brand and the business name goes hand in hand anyway. I mean, we're all branded up with uniform and stuff like that all over the place. So I think that in itself keeps the two things kind of in line.
I think you end up living your brand. Actually, I know obviously your brand through and through. You told us earlier that even your shoes are now branded, which I was quite impressed
yeah,
with.
Absolutely. But it's all about the yellow. But I would say that people buy from people who they know, like, and trust. They're not buying the company. They're buying Samantha. They're buying Francesca. And I think that's the key thing, is to make sure that people see that. And I can't think the last time I posted on my company page, because people want me. They don't want the company. They probably don't even know the name of the company. And I think don't get too het up about doing anything on company if you're new to LinkedIn. Just start building yourself up. And the only thing I would say is get yourself a company page so you get the logo so it looks professional. But that's all you need it for initially.
Mm.
And you can utilize your own profile as well to maximize the business presence. Actually, for instance, I know you've got the profile picture that it's a short video, isn't it? So when you land on your page, there's an instruction that gets delivered from you.
Yeah, that's creator mode, and that's a little introduction video, and literally it's 30 seconds long, and it just gives people just because video is so amazing, because people feel that they know you. I was at an event yesterday, and this lady came up to me. I didn't know her. She goes, "Oh, I follow you on LinkedIn. I love your stuff," and all of that. And it's like, wow. And that is only because she has seen my videos. Samantha, Francesca, you must have had this at Accountex and the Digital Accountancy Show and stuff like that. People coming up to you, they know you, and because they've seen your videos.
Yeah, that's amazing. The more people get to know you are, the more opportunities come through as well, like the likes of speaking at Accountex, Digital Accountancy Show, going on podcasts, webinars, and obviously at the time I was thinking, oh, I don't want to do it. But the more you do these things, though, the better it builds your confidence and your business, even if it feels uncomfortable at the time. Be around the people that will help you do these things as well. I know it's scary, but it's all for the better.
Yeah, fantastic to hear you say that you was nervous about LinkedIn. It's surprising, because you come across so well on LinkedIn at the moment. I suppose the perception is that you've always been very confident and you've always just done what you've always done.
It's interesting because loads of people that are doing this are nervous. I think even the celebrities or influencers of Instagram, TikTok, they are all feeling the way we are. And as soon as more people realise that, the better, because we're all feeling nervous about it.
And the thing is, when you are doing it yourself, you have to push yourself. You have to film more, publish content, and you're exposing yourself to what you believe is going to be judgments. Whereas as they get bigger and bigger and bigger, there's probably the celebrities, they're probably outsourcing it, and so therefore they can not worry about it so much because somebody else is pushing them or is doing it for them. But what we're talking about is doing it ourselves and putting ourselves out there.
Yeah.
We've spoken a lot about people kind of finding us on LinkedIn and kind of I suppose checking and learning more about us. We're getting a lot of questions about also building a user base or a client base from LinkedIn. So how do we go about targeting clients? Where do I find clients? I think that was a question, in fact. I'll start with LinkedIn Premium though, because this is a question that's popped up. Is it required, LinkedIn Premium? And if you use it, what benefits have you seen from it? Sam, perhaps I'll come to you on that. Do you have a Premium account?
I do not. I've turned it on a couple of times over the years and done like the 30-day trial, and I'm not going to lie, for me, I didn't get what benefit it was bringing. So I think Ashley will probably be able to enlighten me. Maybe I was doing something wrong. I'm not saying it's pointless. What I'm saying is, personally, I don't understand why it was supposed to be better for me and what I'm doing. So no, I don't have it.
Ashley, do you want to jump in on that?
Has Francesca got it? No. And this is the thing. This is the thing, right? We don't need it. We don't need to pay for any of this stuff. Okay. I have Premium because you get so many searches per month. Your average user isn't going to hit that number. All right. I'm all over LinkedIn, so I keep getting slapped because I'm doing too many searches. So I ended up buying it. So I never get slapped now because it doesn't matter. Okay. you get a 90-day view of who's looked at your profile, and you also get something called InMail. But for your average user, no, stick with the free version and spend your money elsewhere, or spend your money on other things. But don't worry about premium unless you really are going to hit it hard. And you don't need to hit it hard as long as you do the right things. Do what Sam, Mantha, and Francesca have done. Just be consistent, and then you're absolutely fine.
We tried LinkedIn Premium actually at Accountants Manager in the past, and yeah, the only benefit that I really saw was the InMail. Of course, you send off lots and lots of direct messages to people, and kind of not many people even responding, or perhaps they're just ignoring it, or we didn't feel that we got any benefit from it, so we just downgraded that account as well. But how do we generate new inquiries from LinkedIn? Is it purely from the content that we're producing, and people got DMing you afterwards to say, oh yeah, liked what you said, can we have a chat? Francesca, how do you see new inquiries coming from LinkedIn?
Yeah, I've had inboxes after a normal personal post, or when I talk about how people should do the bookkeeping and a frustration post, I'll get an inbox. I haven't done as much of that, if I'm honest, due to holding off on clients for a time being. But I do like doing that, and then you do get the inboxes. They're not as thick and fast as they were right at the beginning, which is probably what I'm trying to do, so it's not all on me. Like Sam was saying, if you share too much yourself, it's all going to come to me, which is fine at the beginning, but we've done a lot more on our website, so we're getting some traction through that. But yeah, it's an inbox, and then I'm just on it. I'm quick at responding and getting sorted.
And Sam, is that the same for you? Is it the tax tips that you post and people are kind of directing you, messaging you afterwards?
Yeah, a similar story there. So yes, it's in the inbox of LinkedIn that I'll put a post on and then get, a potential lead land in the inbox. One thing I will say about that inbox as your profile grows on LinkedIn, though, is that there is a lot to filter through. So you have to be quite committed to checking that inbox, and I will put my hands up and admit that I've missed client leads where I haven't seen them for like a month, because I've like scanned down my inbox and there's that much sales stuff or people contacting with absolute, nothing that I want to read, that I've actually missed leads. So I think you have to be quite committed to actually going in and reading every message. I think for me, there's another side to it where opportunities that have come from LinkedIn, whether that be an invitation into a certain networking event or something like that, have then led on to having new clients. So it's not always been direct LinkedIn inboxes, but maybe somebody's seen me as an accountant on LinkedIn and said, oh, we're having this network event next week in your area. Do you want to come as the accountant? I've only got that opportunity because of LinkedIn. I've gone along and walked out of that room with 5 new clients. So it's not always like the direct, inbox client. It can lead to opportunities which will then bring you clients.
Yeah, I think it is probably part of a greater marketing business development effort, isn't it? And because for instance, there's a question coming in here: how do I target more local clients? Well, of course, if you're kind of posting content, it's going to reach the audience of LinkedIn. But I think if you're engaging with local communities and whatnot on LinkedIn profile, that's going to lead to other opportunities. Unless actually, is there any other guidance that you? Oh, sorry, go on, Francesca.
No, I was just going to say, I think if you're targeting locally, I wouldn't even bother with LinkedIn for that. I would definitely get yourselves out and about, get to a local networking firm event, talk to local businesses, help out the community, help charity. That's a lot what I do as well. So that will really get you. So people will come to me for business advice locally because I'm quite well known. So, and that's just not to do with LinkedIn. LinkedIn was after all that.
We've had a question from the audience saying, how important is video in person? And they said you look very presentable, but I'm not sure I fit into that bracket well. I'm sure you do. But if for those people who don't want to be doing videos, Ashley, what advice have you got to give those guys?
Well, so I want to go back on the previous question. And how do we get people? So what you need to do is you need to hang around where your ideal clients are hanging around. Okay. Now I work with accountants and bookkeepers, so I comment on Samantha's posts and Francesca's posts. Okay. So people are seeing me in that space. So a lot of people turn around and they get a connection request from an HR guy or a lawyer or a recruitment consultant, and they go, well, that's not my target audience. But those people are all talking to small businesses. So if you've got a recruitment consultant that's putting out loads of content, then lots of small businesses are going to see that. So if you comment on those posts and add value to those posts, then people are going to see that you're the accountant to go to. So that's the thing, is just be active in the comments. Don't just like stuff. Actually comment and add value. So that's the top tip there to get that. Now your question regarding video. When you put a post out, you might get 500 views, and then you do a video and you might get 50 views. Yeah. Those 50 people that have looked at your video have spent some proper time with you. Even if it's a 30-second video, they have spent 30 minutes with you, 30 seconds with you. Whereas if they're just reading text or looking at a photo, they're not getting any relationship with you. So video, I cannot stress enough how important video is. And it doesn't matter whether you look presentable or what have you. I spoke to somebody who had a proper West Country accent, and that's rich coming from me down in the West Country. But she sounded proper Devonshire sort of, like that, my dear. And she said, I can't do that. I can't go on because I sound like this. But to all the other people that sound like that, she sounds just like them. And therefore we can see her and we feel her and we know her. So it really doesn't matter what you sound like, what you look like. Just get out on video, because unless when you go to meetings, you put a mask on and you disguise your voice. You've got to be you sometimes. Why not just do it on video? And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Absolutely.
However, I'm not very good at writing how I feel. So for me, video is easier. I'm getting better at the writing content thing, but there's a lot of people that are better at writing their feelings, and I actually like reading their content, and they write really well, and they don't even put a picture with it, and that still gets good traction. So if you feel more comfortable to start doing something and you don't want to do video, definitely write something, even if it's your Tax Tip Tuesday or if it's Fun Friday or whatever. That does make a difference, because I did a bit of a diary entry, actually. I remember in 2021 where I'd write what I was doing I did a bit of an update, and I wrote it, and I didn't even put a selfie with it or anything, and that did well, to be fair. That was a lot of work to keep up with, but I did it, like telling them what I was doing in the day. So because I know video is growing, but I know it's nerve-wracking to start that can be your next step, or just go all out and do a video.
However, I'm going to come right back at you, Francesca. Get yourself, if you're watching this right now, get yourself a Loom account. Okay, it's free. Okay, and actually talk to Loom like Francesca does. That would give you experience and practice at doing video, but then hit the transcribe button and you can use that text for your post. So you're killing two birds with one stone. So Francesca, cool. Maybe you should do that, and then you could do some writing.
Yeah. Or chat box that writes it for you.
Yeah.
That's good.
Can I just jump in on this one? So what Ashley was saying then about, the lady he spoke to that had the accent, I mean, my accent's a bit mixed up anyway, so I can totally relate to that. But let's just take this back to the fact of Ashley's just been saying that, he knows that I've got a daughter. He knows that I have a rusty old red camper van that I've managed to get my hands on. That is me being real. And that's what people are buying into. If I was putting myself in a position where I was like, oh, I can't film Tax Tip Tuesday today because my daughter might be in the background, is like Fran going, I can't film today because I'm in my gym gear. Hold on a minute. That is why we've got the traction on LinkedIn, because we are being real. So totally flip that on its head. The lady with the accent that she's a little bit worried about will probably take off on LinkedIn, because people will be like, oh yeah, that's that. I'm assuming she's an accountant. That's that accountant from so-and-so, and they'll remember her because of that voice. Like they remember me with my rusty camper van, and they remember Fran because she's super fit and she's always at the gym, So that's, I think you've got to look at it on the flip side. That's your individuality, and that's why you will be recognised.
I did a video once, and I'd be spray. So it was obviously lockdown, and was antibacterial stuff. Now you had a flash spray in the background. That got more traction than me. Everyone was so fascinated by the flash. Oh, I use that. You know, they like to see relatable stuff. So the branding you wear, your new top. They like to see how you've done your hair, how you do your hair, what lipstick you're wearing, or in my case, probably mostly not. So it's, people are nosy as well, and they want to know what you're doing, what you're up to. Well, I'm nosy anyway, so.
Yeah, 100%.
Human nature.
Yeah.
I've done it with Ashley in the past. I've pointed out what the things on the back wall and being like, well, what's that dog doing there then, Ashley? What's that? And just start to build rapport with people because you kind of know a little bit more about them.
Yeah.
And I think everybody hates to remember their own voice. When I hear myself back, I'm like, oh no, I don't sound like that, do I? Yeah.
It's horrible. It's so bad.
Yeah. Why do you think so many home accounts do well on Instagram? Because we're nosy. I love to look at homes and what people are up to.
Now, I was actually going to come to you about Instagram because you use other social media as well. And I suppose how does LinkedIn compare to Instagram, for instance, and how do you tailor the content accordingly?
I don't very often tailor it. So I don't spend as much time on Instagram. I think that's built a little bit more recently because of LinkedIn and YouTube that I'm doing. If I spent as much time on Instagram to build that like I did at the beginning of LinkedIn, I could definitely build the following there. It does need more time, but I tend to post pretty much the same and focus on my stories. So I do a story update of what I'm eating, what I'm up to, what time I'm at the gym, along my day. So that is very much more personal on my Instagram. So I don't post as much on my feed. I posted literally Sunday, I think it was, of what I was wearing and what I got up to, but my new H&M top, you know, that, but I didn't put that on my LinkedIn. I might do later, actually, now that I've said that. I'll post my new H&M top on LinkedIn. See what happens. Watch out for that one coming later.
There we go. But it's interesting because the content that we put on LinkedIn is different to other social media platforms. And do we treat LinkedIn differently to as we might use our own personal Facebook accounts? Sam, how do you, I suppose, differ any sort of use of LinkedIn to Facebook or anything else that you might be using?
Yeah, so it is quite different for me on LinkedIn in that LinkedIn's the only social media platform that it's me, as in it's not SJCM Accountancy, that's posting. So on Instagram and Facebook, the business has a page which is public, but my actual profile is personal and it's blocked off from public. So LinkedIn is totally different for me in that respect, in that I do post my real journey and the story and snippets about my life as well as the business on LinkedIn. But on my other social medias, you know, I do keep the business page for Facebook and Instagram very business related, and I'm not necessarily sharing snippets of my life like I am on LinkedIn. So it has become that place for me, and it is the only place that I am doing that.
That's interesting, isn't it? You wouldn't think that. Yeah, well, I've got the same profile picture across all the platform I use, keep it all very uniform, very much the same. Otherwise, I might go on Facebook and go, oh, who's that? That's not who's on LinkedIn. So yeah,
again, that's your brand, isn't it? So it's got to be the same photo on everything. Mine's even the same on Zoom.
Yeah, mine is.
I have no doubt that, you know, I could have done the same on LinkedIn and Instagram, that I've done on LinkedIn, and kind of repeated that personal side on Instagram. But I did read something very early on in you're better off doing one social media platform well rather than all of them not so well. And obviously it's all about the time limitations. So like Francesca, you do amazing with like actually getting really quality content on so many platforms. I absolutely take my hat off to you, because personally I couldn't cope with that just from the notification point of view, which is why I have pigeonholed that to LinkedIn really.
Yeah, no, I get you. It gets hard, to be honest. I won't lie. Like building the YouTube's a very slow start, really slow, but I'm trying to be consistent. But I'm trying to say, just do it every 2 to 3 weeks. I'll upload a video on a Sunday night, and I've stuck to it. But I'm documenting the fitness journey as well, which is kind of easy because I'm doing that a lot at the minute. So bear with me on this. I'll tell you what happens next year with it all.
Does anybody use TikTok at all? Just had a question coming in about TikTok.
I'm on there, obviously, but I don't really use it as much. Do you, Sam?
Yeah, so TikTok is the other one where my profile is public actually, and I do have a couple of thousand on there without actually trying hard, and it's a bit of a mix between business and some fun videos that I've just filmed, you know, because it's entertaining. But one thing I will say to anyone that's watching is I think there's a real gap on TikTok. And if I was going to hit another social media platform hard and I wanted to grow clients at a fast rate, it would be TikTok that I went to. And in my head, somebody needs to go to TikTok and do something similar to Tax Tip Tuesday or maybe Daily Tax Tip. And they could literally do it. It'd only have to be 10, 30-second video on TikTok consistently every day or even once a week, maybe a few times a week. And I think they would build a very successful client base quite quickly off that platform, because I've literally not seen many accountants at all using it from that point of view.
Right, let me show you if I can. I don't know if it will come up. Charlotte did TikTok on a Friday top tip on TikTok Fridays. I don't know if you can see that.
Fab, yeah.
Yeah, we got you. Yeah.
Spencer's under 1,000.
Yeah.
So that we did do it, but she's been away for a month, believe it or not, my business partner in Florida. So she stopped before, so she's going to pick that up. But yes, you're right, Sam. So if we kept consistent with that on future cloud TikTok, this is obviously, then I do think you can build a massive business on TikTok in a minute.
I agree. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. There's a gap there. Somebody needs to hit it.
Another one of our users is doing really well on TikTok, actually. It's Rachel Harris from StriveX.
Yes.
If you haven't seen her content, you should look her up. She's doing a really, really good job. I went down to go do a case study with her today, and she got me dancing on TikTok, which wasn't exactly my comfort zone. I felt so horrendous because I kept I couldn't get the moves. I kept bumping into them all, and I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm so rubbish. but yeah, it's so they're doing.
Brilliant. We need to see this.
Oh, it's live. Don't you worry. Lots of people are seeing it. It's taking the mic. But no, it's all good fun.
All good fun.
So we've had another comment coming in just saying about how they're getting started with LinkedIn and they're dedicating a day a week to practice development, of which LinkedIn is take up a few hours in that day. They've got a couple of thousand connections, but they're struggling to get any traction on their content. Is there any tips that we can share with them, or do they need to be more patient? Note, they do say I'm not posting videos. The content I'm posting is in line with what you've been discussing. So I think I can see where the tip is going to go. Actually, perhaps I'll come to you on this one.
Yeah, so I get a lot of people that they talk to me and they go, you get a lot of engagement on your posts. And I write how I want to read, and you see an awful lot of professional type posts that are just dishing up information, and is that what you want to read? Okay, and think about it. So if you're going to be writing stuff on LinkedIn, start with a question, start with a hook to get me into your post. You know, what do you think about this? Has this happened to you? What do you think I'm doing at the weekend? And then start that off. Break the text up so that it looks easy to read, and bear in mind that 70% of people are going to look at your content on their mobile phone, and therefore it squashes all the text up. So when you write it on your desktop and you've got a space here and a space there, you're going to lose some of that on the mobile phone. So make sure you space it out, but don't space it up too much, because when you look at it, that looks difficult to read as well. Don't use too many emojis, and end with a question or something that I can go, don't you think that's a good idea? And then that invites engagement, because that's what we want. We want people to engage with the post, because if we get engagement on our post in the first 90 minutes of it going live, then LinkedIn will push it out a little bit further. Don't comment on your own posts, and don't like your own posts, because that doesn't help either. And don't put tag walls on. I was listening to a great webinar today with Samantha and Francesca and Ashley and Jonathan. You're just tagging for tagging's sake. Only add it if it's going to add value. So it's those are the sorts of things. But would you read your post? And that's the thing.
I see a lot of people just tagging lots of different people within posts. It seems to be a bit of a, I suppose, a trend really. Just, and I suppose yes, it just gets, you know, put on lots of people's feed, if you will. But
if they don't actually comment on that post, LinkedIn will penalize you, so it will get less reach.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so if I tag all three of you in my post tomorrow saying what a lovely time I had, and none of you comment, I'm going to get penalized.
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it?
I didn't realise that.
I don't really tag many people in though, because I just feel that it's a bit spammy. But don't forget to engage in other people's content. So they start looking, then you'll come up on their feed apparently. So you start engaging with others. So maybe do a post, or maybe do some engagement first with other people, and then do your post. Do an introductory post saying who you are, what you're about, what you're up to that day, and a selfie. And then if you want, tag me in it. And that's not allowed, is it, Ashley? I know you've done it, and then I'll engage, or tag me in the comments. I'm not sure if the notifications on LinkedIn are a bit rubbish. I'll try and see it. And then
I'm writing this post today because Francesca told me to. And then if they send you a little message, Francesca, could you please put a comment on this? And so that's the way. That's the way to do it.
We need to give them some homework, Ashley.
Well, the homework has to be getting the profile right. How many photos do you see when people are stood like that and you can't see them? We need a full face filling the screen. That's what we need.
Yeah. I need to change my profile picture. It's been there for nearly 4 years. I'm going to change mine. My hair colour's changed since then.
I used to have a much older profile picture, and when I updated it recently, I was just mortified about how much I thought I'd aged and how much more weight I'd put on over the years. I was like, so disappointed. I was like, oh, come on, it's sort out.
I used to have black hair before I came on LinkedIn.
There's nothing worse than seeing somebody's profile picture on LinkedIn and then meeting them and then looking nothing like it, though. So we do need to keep it real, even if we're dreading it because we've got more grey hair or whatever it may be.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Well, I'm just conscious about, we've got 9 minutes before we wrap up for the hour. I just wanted to ask about polls, and if anybody has used polls and what's if they've worked at all. I feel like it's like an easy way to start getting engagement from an audience, but yeah, just wondering about your experience with them. Sam, perhaps I'll come to you on that.
Yeah, so I've done a couple of polls. It's been very relevant. So, for example, when HMRC took a backtrack on MTD for self-assessment, I did a poll at that point. So it is, if you can put a poll on LinkedIn about something that is very, very relevant to the moment, then I think people will engage really well with it, because everybody's thinking about the same thing within, you know. But again, whether it will definitely, I think, gain reach on posts. But again, you've got to think, well, are you trying to get potential client reach or reach within the industry? For me, it is also about reach within the industry, so that I get opportunities to speak for, you know, people like yourselves. So for that reason, I want my name to stay out there in the industry. So I put a poll out that's very relevant to accountants, and it'll do really well. You could, I think, probably tailor that towards a certain sector of client base. You know, if somebody had a niche, for example, a niche kind of client base, I think a poll on LinkedIn that was relevant to that, you know, to that sector of business could definitely improve things. Yeah.
Francesca, any use of polls on your side?
I've never done one. I've never done one. Maybe I need to start doing polls, proper blogs, and those ones you can put a PDF up and stuff. I've never done any of them swipes, but no, not for me at the minute.
You don't need to, Francesca. I think when polls first came out, LinkedIn, it was a new feature, so LinkedIn wanted to make it, everyone used it. So what they do is they give you extra bonus for doing a poll. So everybody was doing a poll. What's your favorite poll and all that sort of malarkey. So I think if you take a mixture between what Samantha and Francesca have said, is use them wisely. Don't do a poll for poll's sake, but every now and again I'll do one. So I probably do 2 a month, because I want to find something out. It's great for engagement, but people do get sick of them. So yeah, it's video, isn't it, Samantha, Francesca?
Well, I'm going to ask all the panelists to give us just some closing comments, really. So I'll just give you a couple moments to kind of think about that whilst I run my own polls, to be honest with you. So I just wanted to run a poll to say if you wanted to hear any more from the panelists. Obviously, we've been really fortunate to have such excellent speakers come on today. So I'm just going to run a quick poll. If you want to hear any more from any of our panelists, please feel free to tick the box now, and I'll pass your name over to the panelists, and you guys can catch up and do whatever you want to do, because I want to give you that opportunity. Give that a few more moments. Give it 5 more seconds, give it 30 seconds. I'm going to close it. Just there's a flurry of responses then. Cool. Okay. Thank you very much. And one other poll, obviously, just about Bright, really, but I suppose it's pertinent for me to just kind of say like a bit about who Bright is. For if there's anybody on the call that doesn't know anything about Bright, I'm assuming that most people on the call today are going to be existing Bright users. But if you're not and you're interested in hearing any more about our Bright products, obviously we've got Accountancy Manager, which is practice management software. And we've got BrightPay, which is payroll software, and BTC software, which is tax compliance software. So yeah, as I say, I'm assuming everybody is already a user, but if you're interested in hearing any more about us and our products, obviously follow us on LinkedIn. That would be one of my big things I'd say. But also just to tick the box, and obviously we'd be delighted to have the opportunity to talk to you about us in a bit more detail. Just give that a couple more seconds. Cool, thank you very much. So panelists, thank you again so much for taking the time to come and talk to our audience today. I just wanted to kind of just run around, just one final comment from you all, really, just key takeaway. We've had some really great questions that have come in, and some really great comments. So I think the discussion that we've had has really kind of motivated our audience. I'm expecting to see a lot more videos, a lot more content, and a lot more people on LinkedIn. So Ashley, perhaps I'll come to you last, ladies first. Sam, how about you for your closing comments?
Final takeaway point, is that what you're after here? Yeah. Okay, so I would say don't believe everything you see, and it sounds really obvious, but there is so much. Can I swear a little bit? There's so much on LinkedIn, as well as a lot of quality content. So if somebody's telling you that their business has shot up from this to this and that their following brings them this much business, unless you really do trust that person, that's my final takeaway. Don't believe everything that you see, because it can be very easy to compare your real to somebody else's not so real.
Francesca, have you got any closing comments for the audience?
That's really good, Sam. I agree with that. Don't be shy, as in don't be afraid to comment on other people's posts. I know that's a little bit daunting as well. It doesn't have to be anything major, just let people know you're there, basically.
And Ashley, come to you, please.
Consistency and authenticity, and that's it. And just make sure you show up. And yeah, it's superb. Thank you. I've really enjoyed this. I'm so excited. So thank you for having me.
It's made me evaluate my own personal LinkedIn usage as well. And I always kind of think, oh yeah, I'm really active on LinkedIn because we're using Brights and we're using Brights page. And I'm kind of thinking, oh, like you guys are kind of all sharing some really good insight. I was sat here thinking, I really should do more with my own page, actually, come to think of it. So you've motivated me. So I appreciate that. By looking at some of the comments that are coming in, I think we've absolutely motivated the audience as well. So thank you very much for that. Thanks everyone for coming on to the session. Obviously, we'll share out the recording to everybody that registered, so you'll receive that. And I'll perhaps include links to everybody's profiles as well, so if you want to connect with us on LinkedIn. But yeah, that's it. That's it from me. Thanks again to the panelists. Thanks to the audience for coming and watching. And yeah,
thank you.
See you all soon.
Bye.
See you now.
Bye-bye.